Elections are a key component to the democratic system in the United States.
Voting in these elections allows Americans to choose who represents them, which is essential in a representative democracy.
Currently in the United States, a small population is in control of the elected officials for this country.
Low voter turnout, combined with countless uninformed decisions on election days, has brought disastrously low polling numbers to this country.
More specifically, Ingham County has suffered a low turnout in recent elections.
In the 2014 election, just 37% of Ingham County's registered voters cast ballots.
This was the lowest midterm election turnout in 16 years.
I think part of the problem is voters don't have enough information, not only to vote on some of the issues, but they don't even really know exactly where the polling place is. If you're new to the area, when I moved here, I didn't get my information in time, but even when I did, it was vague. Timing was vague. What I needed to bring was vague. Some areas for larger elections, they use every polling place, but if it's a smaller election, like mine closes down and I have to go to a different one, but none of that's told to me ahead of time. So I end up at the old polling place and then they send me somewhere else. So I think there's just not enough good information out there for the voter. So somebody who really, really wants their vote to be heard, or there's a specific issue that they're going out for, will make the effort. If you make it too difficult, people aren't going to vote. They're not going to bother.
I think the reasons I would be most bothered by low voter turnout is because of why I think it is low. And I think it's low because of apathy, and I think that's a bad thing in a democracy.
Absentee voting is one accommodation that was put into place to help increase the number of ballots cast.
In theory, they have a great setup for absentee voters. You get a packet, and then you fill out your absentee vote, send it in the mail before the election. And it's set up for people that are going to be out of town. But I had a friend who did her voter registration, and this was for a Maine election, so a presidential election, filled out her absentee ballot, sent it in. The post office lost it, and it ended up, she got it returned to sender like in December back in her mail. So she knows it didn't count. It never even made it there. So if hers didn't, you wonder how many actually didn't make it there. So I like that idea of having absentee ballots for people that are, just for like soldiers that are away, people away on vacation, people away from their home state and that like go down for vacation down to Florida, people that are retired. But there has to be a better system, I think, in place to make sure that those votes are counted.
Though absentee voting is available with varying restrictions in all 50 states, it has failed to significantly increase voter turnout.
Though absentee voting failed to significantly increase voter turnout in Ingham County, there are other options that have not yet been tried in our community that show substantial results in other areas.
One proposal is to offer more convenient voting options so voters will be more likely to find the opportunity to cast their ballot.
As a person who has a college degree, and so I'm able to read forms really well, I'm able to file forms really well, I have a stable life where if I need to mail something or visit some office, I can. I have an operating vehicle where I have to go to an office or a government building, I can. I have a job that allows my evenings to be free. In those ways, it's convenient for me, but those things aren't true for everyone, and that's the problem.
So the dilemma is, do you cast a vote for someone you've never heard of because he's in your political party? Or do you not cast a vote for anybody in that one and then you lose your vote? So I think it's a frustration for a lot of voters who come to vote for something in particular, and then they find the things on the ballot are either really difficult to understand or they're people they've never heard of. So I think that's a big dilemma. We don't have enough information as the voter to make an educated decision about everything on the ballots.
There are multiple accommodations that can be made to help citizens turn out to vote, such as providing public transportation and offering same-day voter registration.
These ensure the opportunity of those citizens who may want to cast their vote but do not have the means to carry out the process on time.
By offering transportation to polling stations, the community encourages voting in their area and makes it a possibility to citizens in all situations.
To have a true democracy, you should have more openness to voting. It should be easier. There shouldn't be the idea that you could have citizens who are well informed but logistically unable to vote because of voting days, voting hours. That's sad.
10 states and the District of Columbia currently offer same-day registration, and if implemented in Ingham County, it could potentially increase voter turnout by 10%.
Actually, the most convenient thing for me would have been to have same-day registration. When I moved into this house, it was late fall, and I didn't change my address in time to get my new polling place and my new voter registration card, and so I ended up having to miss that election because I just didn't plan ahead. So it would have been great if I could have just walked into my polling place and registered right then. I wish they would have had that. That would have helped me a lot.
Another proposal to increase the educated voter turnout in Ingham County is to lower the voting age in local elections to 16 years old.
This would incorporate a larger amount of people into the voter population who are informed about the democratic system through required civics courses.
In addition to this, lowering the voting age more strongly instills a positive voting routine in adolescents.
I suspect that the idea that you have this large group of people who are actually sitting in government and civics classes and then having the opportunity to vote, you might even get higher turnout among them because they see its relevance, they feel more confident that they understand the system, they're learning about it every day in class. They might have higher turnout than parents who are not taking the class.
A small town in Maryland called Tacoma Park lowered their voting age to 16 in 2013. in hope of forming consistent youth voting habits and increasing their local election turnout.
I can't quote verbatim, but Thomas Jefferson's quote about how if we think that one of the problems is uninformed masses, then the way to remedy that is not to take power from them, it's to educate them. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to think what I do every day is a little bit of that, trying to inform people, trying to inspire people to care a little bit, to know a little bit more.
According to Peter Levine, the director of the Center for Information and Research, 16 and 17-year-olds were found to have the same political knowledge as that of a 21-year-old.
Absolutely. I think 16-year-olds are very capable of being able to make decisions. We trust them with a car, making decisions in a car. We trust them. I mean, they make adult decisions every day in their relationships, for jobs that they can have. For colleges, we allow them to apply to a college and pick a college by the age of going on 17. Why couldn't, and this is something that's going to affect the rest of their life, why couldn't we allow them to choose somebody that's going to represent them, make decisions that affect those things that they do, like drive, like go to college, try to pay for college. So I absolutely think they're capable. That many of my students are smarter than many of the parents. So many of my students are probably smarter than me.
I mean, we all go through government, the class, and I think everyone's well educated enough to the extent where they could definitely vote. I do. I watch the news, actually. You probably wouldn't expect that from me, but I do watch the news, and I did well in government class. I I keep up with politics and what's going on in the country, so I think I definitely do.
The responsibility to vote is a sign of adulthood, so many teens are intrigued by this idea and would be more compelled to go out and vote compared to 18-year-olds who are considered adults in all aspects of life.
Yes, I think that students here at Okemos High School are well educated enough to the point where we could vote at age 16 because the government class here at OHS prepared us for that. If I could vote at the age of 16, I would definitely do it because I like having the responsibility and having a voice in our community.
There are multiple ways to improve educated voter turnout in this community. All it is going to take is some motivation and true patriotism.